welcome back to my channel. It is such a beautiful day today. If you are new to my channel, hi and welcome. My name is Nicole and I'm just a gal that loves food. I love cooking, I love baking, and I love sharing my favorite recipes with you guys. I post weekly recipes on YouTube, so if you love food and watching recipe videos, definitely subscribe to my channel. Today's video is actually really special because it's my first ever collaboration on YouTube with another YouTuber. I'm collaborating with Vasi.
Hi guys, it's Vasi.
If you haven't heard of her, I'll link her channel down below, but she is a lifestyle vlogger that does travel videos. She lives in London.
On my channel, I like giving you suggestions on restaurants that you can try on a budget. I also post travel related content and vlogs from London.
So go definitely check her out. Vasi actually contacted me via Instagram and she thought it would be fun if we did a collaboration video. So we decided to do a holiday recipe swap. For this recipe swap, I asked Vasi to make my chocolate crinkle cookie recipe, which I make every year for the holiday season, so it's definitely a staple in my household. And in exchange, she asked me to make a chocolate Yule log. I have never made a chocolate Yule log or any Yule log of any kind in my lifetime. I'm actually really nervous because I know chocolate Yule logs are a little bit hard to make just because you're actually rolling cake. But you know what? I'm hoping for the best. I'm gonna follow the recipe to a T and hopefully it's not too difficult. Before we get started, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more recipe videos from me. Let's get started and make this cake. Make sure to watch the entire video because I'll be doing a taste test at the end and you'll see my very first reaction and impression on how this cake tasted. Okay, so we're gonna start off by separating 6 eggs. Then in a large bowl or using your KitchenAid stand mixer, go ahead and start beating your 6 egg yolks. In a separate bowl, combine half a cup of flour, a quarter cup of cocoa powder, and a quarter teaspoon of salt. And mix the ingredients thoroughly. We're going to gradually add half a cup of granulated sugar to our egg yolks, and we're going to continue beating until the egg yolks turn into a pale yellow color. So in full transparency, because this was the very first time I made this cake, something had to go wrong, right? So in this video, you're actually seeing my second attempt at beating these egg yolks because the first time I overbeat them and it made my mixture super hard and cement-like. So pro tip, do not overbeat your egg yolks. The second they turn that pale yellow color, turn your mixer off. Then we're gonna add in the dry ingredients that we combined earlier and mix on low speed, again not to overbeat the egg yolks. So your mixture should look a little something like this. Scrape off all the excess from the whisk attachment and the mixture should still be soft and velvety and almost have this mousse-like texture. And now it's time to move on to our egg whites. Into your mixture, add in the egg whites from the 6 eggs that you separated earlier. Then we're going to beat the egg whites on medium speed until they get frothy. Once your egg whites look like this, it's time to gradually add in a quarter cup of granulated sugar. Continue mixing until stiff peaks start to form. Your egg white mixture will be ready once it looks like this. Next, we are gradually going to fold in our egg white mixture with the egg yolk mixture that we created earlier. In this part of the recipe, I'm gradually adding the egg whites into the egg yolk mixture because it'll be easier to work with. Also, we don't want to overmix or overfold the egg whites because we want the cake to be fluffy. Whipped egg whites are actually the key to all light and fluffy cakes. Once combined, your cake batter will look like this and it's time to add to your cake pan. For this recipe, you can use a jelly roll pan, a half-sheet pan, or a cookie tray. One of the most important parts of this recipe is to make sure your cookie tray or sheet pan is very well greased. So what I did is I basically took my cookie tray, I sprayed cooking oil all over it, put parchment paper on top, and I sprayed it again with that cooking oil. Once all the cake batter is on your sheet pan or cookie tray, we're gonna spread the cake batter as evenly as we can across the entire pan. So while spreading the batter, we want to try and use the least amount of strokes possible because we also don't want to overhandle the cake batter and have the egg whites deflate. This step was actually really hard for me to do because I'm such a perfectionist and I just wanted to keep spreading until it was perfectly even, and I had to physically stop myself from doing this. Now it's time to bake the cake in a preheated oven at 350 Fahrenheit for 12 minutes. You'll know the cake is ready when you lightly press the top of it and it slowly springs back up. Here I'm just sprinkling a clean dish towel with powdered sugar because the powdered sugar will actually prevent the warm cake from sticking to our dish towel. Now it is time for the moment of truth. I was actually so scared at this step, and I was just so happy that my cake didn't break or the pan didn't stick to the cake. So remember guys, make sure to grease your pan really well. Now that one of the hard parts is over, it's time to very slowly remove the parchment paper from the cake. Don't get too excited and do this too fast because we also don't want the cake to tear or go with the parchment paper. And now it's time to roll our warm cake. Again, take your time at this step. We don't want the cake breaking at this point, so just do this step really carefully. Once your cake is rolled, it's time to cool the cake in the coolest part of your house. Don't stick it in the fridge because the temperature change might actually break the cake. With our cake cooling, it's time to work on our whipped cream filling. The filling is actually fairly simple. In your KitchenAid, add in 1 1/4 cup of heavy cream and mix on medium speed. Then we're gonna add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Last but not least, we're going to add in 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, and in this sugar I also added a pinch of salt. Then continue mixing until you get this smooth and velvety filling. And now the fun part, we get to finally fill this cake. Slowly unroll your cake and please make sure that it's completely cooled at this point because the last thing we want is to have our whipped filling melt on a warm cake. Look at how smooth and silky that cream is spreading. We have reached scary part number 2 of this recipe, re-rolling the cake. At this point, you can see that the powdered sugar really helped prevent our cake from sticking to the dishwasher. Not the dishwasher, the dish towel. So it was fairly easy to roll, but once you're done rolling, make sure the cake is seam facing down, and I'm just gonna cover it again with that dish towel, and now we can chill this in the fridge for a minimum of 1 hour. While the cake chills, it's time to work on our chocolate buttercream. In your stand mixer, add in 1/2 cup of softened unsalted butter. Once your butter is smooth, add in 1 1/2 cups of powdered sugar gradually. Once the butter and sugar have thoroughly combined, it's time to add in 5 tablespoons of cocoa powder. I forgot to mention, but we are still mixing on medium speed. Once there's no longer loose cocoa powder in the bowl, add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of heavy cream. Once the heavy cream has been mixed in, it's time to turn our stand mixer on high to get that fluffy buttercream. Ooh, she is so soft and light and gorgeous. Also, if you didn't know, having really light and fluffy buttercream makes it super easy to spread on cakes. Like this one. So this is our log cake completely chilled, and I'm just taking a brush to brush off as much powdered sugar as I can. I know it doesn't look like I'm doing much, but trust me, there is powdered sugar flying everywhere. Now we can start covering our cake with our chocolate buttercream. Best part about this step is that you actually don't have to be too concerned if your buttercream is not looking smooth, because the choppier it actually looks more realistic and looks like an actual log. Once the cake is covered, I'm actually just using my offset spatula to put more grooves and shapes into the log so it looks more realistic. We have finally made it to the very last step of this recipe, and it's to garnish our log to make her look all Christmassy. First, I'm taking some fresh rosemary sprigs and I'm just pulling some small parts off and sticking them randomly onto the log. Then, to emulate fresh snowfall, I'm taking slightly toasted coconut and sprinkling her all over the log. And then lastly, I'm using frosted cranberries. To frost cranberries, it's actually quite simple. Take some damp cranberries, make sure they're not soaking wet, and just shake them around in some granulated sugar, and ta-da! They look so frosty and so Christmassy. And we are finally done. She is looking Christmassy and beautiful and delicious. Look at her, she is so gorgeous. We are finally done making the cake. But you know what? It turned out better than I thought. We did have that one hiccup in the beginning where I had to redo all of my egg yolks, but that's fine. So take note, if you're making this recipe, make sure not to over whip your egg yolks. I can't even say that, egg yolks. And now we have finally made it to my very favorite part of this video, which is the taste testing portion. I'm so excited because this cake smells so good. Okay, but first, can we just take a couple of seconds to gawk over my cake? Because this is my very first Yule log, and this is how it turns out. Like, what? Are you kidding me? This is beautiful, it's gorgeous. I know the cream could have been distributed more evenly, but I'm not even gonna talk about that. Let's focus on this cake really quick. Look at how gorgeous she is, my goodness. This is an actual Christmas log. This is a log that you find in the middle of the forest on Christmas Eve. There's fresh snow on top. It's so magical. Oh my goodness. Okay, enough of this. I'm gonna eat it because I'm smelling it. It's near my nose. Oh my god, so good. Okay, so I cut myself a piece. Oh, so pretty. I can't get over it. Okay, first impressions, when I cut into it, the cake is really, really, really soft. It seems like it's gonna be fluffy. Okay, ready? I'm excited. The cake is so fluffy from all the egg whites we added. The chocolate flavor is so rich. Oh my god. I'm taking another bite. You also get that crunch from the coconut. Flavor is 10-10. Look is 10-10. I have nothing bad to say, except that the recipe does have a lot of steps in it, but totally worth it. I think I'm actually gonna make this again for Christmas Eve dinner. Wow. Okay guys, so just to do a final thoughts on the cake. Number one, the look. You already know, 10 out of 10, so aesthetic, totally Instagrammable. Definitely make this for the holiday season. Number two, the taste. 10 out of 10 because it's so good. It's so chocolatey and rich, and with the light whipped cream, it's just the perfect balance, not too sweet. You could probably eat 3 slices of this cake and not feel like that gross feeling. Number three, the texture. The texture of the cake is so light because we whipped so many egg whites into there, and then also the lightness of the whipped cream, but then you have this really dense chocolatey buttercream, and it's the perfect harmony, and then you have that sprinkle of toasted coconut. It's just chef's kisses. So all in all, 10 out of 10. Would I recommend making this cake? Yes. Definitely 100p. Yes, you definitely should make this cake. All right, guys, we have reached the end of the video. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, thank you so much, Vasi, for reaching out to me to do this collaboration. I had so much fun, and I'm about to eat an entire chocolate Yule log cake, not Yule lake. But thank you so much for reaching out to me. I had a great time and I learned something new, which is great. Also, don't forget, I'll have all of Vasi's links down below in my description box, so you should definitely check her out. Before you leave this video, comment down below what dishes you make for the holiday season with your family. I know there's a lot of cultures and traditions out there, so I would love to learn more about them. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Look at me doing another intro. Who am I? But I kind of like it.